Hi everyone, this is Renee Francis with A Matter of Perception. In this video, we're going to take a look at Mariah Woods, little 3-year-old, put to bed and gone in the night. Jacksonville, North Carolina. The sheriff down there has put out some assistance from the public. They're going to widen their search. And anyway, AMAP has been studying point of disappearance to point of recovery, measuring the distance and the direction. And we've been paralleling those numeric facts against the astronomical process, which means we're doing charts, planetary charts, for the time children go missing and their birth. And we are paralleling how the aspects at the time are actually offering the directions and the distances in which they are found. So anyway, we applied what we know in Mariah's case, and hopefully maybe some of the vectors that we have panned out in her map. This is her page at our site, and this is her map. You can actually use the map on this page. However, it's probably best to use it by this link, and which you will open up the map in its own browser, and it's just a little bit more easier to navigate. In this video, I'll be navigating the map on Internet Explorer. For some reason, Chrome has been blinking on me when I'm in the mapping program, so I'm going to use Explorer for this. So I don't know, whatever browser you're using, you might get a little couple of hiccups. Just be patient, and if it blinks on you, again, just be patient. Sometimes you click on a map, it brings you back. Anyway, I'm going to be going over these things in a second, and then I'm actually going to do some, show you some case studies of the children that were taken out of their homes. The Lindbergh baby in 1932 out of New Jersey. We're going to look at Bobby Joe Matthews out of Pennsylvania, and that was in 1988. And we're also going to look at Danielle Van Dam. Okay, so that's 3 kids taken out of their homes at night. If this is in fact what happened here with Mariah, we really don't know. I don't know if anybody's come forward yet to say that anyone other than the folks in the house saw Mariah last. But parents, mom says, news reports that she was put to bed 11:30. I'm getting conflicting. We went with 11:30. And we also got her time of birth, not her time of birth, but her day of birth, and we're looking at that as well. And we're going to look at all these planetary patterns, and then we're going to vector them out on that map, and we're going to go over each of them in a little bit, okay? So when I come down here to this little one's, inside here is her birth chart. I'm just going to highlight a couple of things. This is really, but the kid's got a hard chart here. She's got this little line up here in Scorpio. Venus conjunct Saturn at birth. It could be difficult for a child living in a home situation that is not ideal. I don't like the fact that at the time of this, that she goes missing, that Venus is the same degree, 24 Scorpio, as Saturn is here. Okay, so Venus in transit's conjuncting this, energizing all this little ugly stuff that goes on here. Another thing I'm not quite certain I like here is that the Moon and Neptune are in Pisces, transiting her own moon by a square, which at birth was in square to Neptune. Now, ideally, we do not have a time of birth for this little one to give us the exact degree of the moon. The moon will move 13 degrees in one 24-hour period, just about. So if she's born anywhere near sunrise, which this chart is based on, a few hours before, a few hours, and when I say a few, I'm kind of going 4 to 6, either end of sunrise, she will have a moon square Neptune, okay? So anything later than those 2 times on either side of sunrise, then she'd still have the aspect. It just probably wouldn't be as strong. Now, typically in astrology, astrologers have to stick to very confined degrees of orb to interpret someone's personality, life habits, skills, those things, okay? But here in AMAP, we use the stars against the terrain. So we give them just a little bit more of a latitude with an orb, but not much more. Okay, but anyway, this aspect in her own birth chart, we would square this out. Okay, we would square this moon Neptune out because the moon and the sun in most of the children's charts, we got over 190 cases of children and adults where we've measured the point of disappearance, point of recovery, and the sun and moon are always playing in. So these would be the two aspects that we would look at first in this birth chart. But anyway, the reason for why I'm highlighting these things here is I'm looking for things that are transiting that are going to trigger something for this kid, this little sweetheart. Are we looking for remains, or are we looking for a live little girl? Personally, I do not like this chart with the situation that I've read thus far in the articles. That I don't know, in those trailers, they're you know, how do you not hear somebody coming in and taking a child out at night? That I just, you know, that's hard to swallow. I mean, it has happened. Danielle Van Dam, Jessica Lunsford, gee, there's a whole list of them. Jacqueline Dallaby. Anyway, I personally think we might be looking for remains here, because not only that, but this little one at birth, she has Mars and she has Pluto conjunct here in Capricorn. Not good. Not good. So I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that we probably are looking for remains. And when I say I hope I'm wrong, I hope I'm wrong. I hope that little thing got out on her own, and that she may have survived the elements over the last couple of days and is okay. But anyway, either way, whether she is remains or is she alive, we're hoping that our map is going to be able to help. So let's get started here. So like I said, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that we probably should be looking for remains. And most likely because of what she has here in her chart, all this Scorpio that's going on here. This loves drainage, okay? It likes water. It likes piping, drainage. And so I would say if you're, you know, roads, look in the washes alongside the roads where, you know, for water to spill off. Any kind of culvert, you know, where drainage meets where road meets water. I would pay attention to those kind of areas, and I would definitely, you know, stick to the wooded area. And what gets scary about this is, let's go over here to her map. If I, what I've learned here in Explorer, you really have to use these buttons here, because it kind of, if I want to scroll in with my mouse button, it just goes nuts. So if I do here, I can go in increments. Now down here, you'll be able to get a hybrid and name of the roads. Okay, so this is where she was last seen. And the aspect that we have turned on right now here is the Sun, Moon, Neptune square that's happening in the chart at the time that she disappeared. So let's just go back up here so you can see this. We're trying to cover all these patterns. So the Sun and the Moon were in square to one another. So we're going to square this out. Okay, so now all these planets are doing something. So we try to cover all of them. Okay, so these two are in square, but they have their other points. There's the other point here from the Sun. And then there's the other end of this, which is this way. So when you look at this map and you have the Sun, Moon, Neptune aspect turned on, you can turn it on or off with these lines, okay? This is what that square looks like, okay? Now that aspect is in, look at how many different numbers are involved here. We have 5 for the Sun, 10 for the Moon, and 11 for Neptune. So that's 3 different numbers. So that's why you're seeing 3 different lines pulled out in each one. But you have 2 here because we have a conjunction. So that's why you have 4, but the spread is there. So let me dump this. Okay, so each one of these, you turn them on and you turn them off. And you look at them one by one. Since they're expanding the search and they're asking for the public's help, maybe if we get the public into this, looking at this map, you know, hopefully you could maybe go and look in the areas where some of these lines are heading. Okay. We also added her date of birth. So what we have here is all the possible distances. All these distances are based on the measurement of the planets. Okay. They can be turned on and turned off. Okay. So I have on right now, I have the 1 mile and 4 miles. If this is something that happened out of that house that night and they disposed of her quickly, how far could they have gone? Okay, they would have went 4 miles, maybe 10 miles. Okay, maybe 17 miles. Okay, this was probably a rush, you know, impulse kind of thing. You know, really didn't think it real through and just took her and maybe disposed of her somewhere, you know, quick off one of these roads. So let's see where these lines are going. And I'm probably going to draw a couple little hot spots. in this map. Maybe, I hate to do hot spots because I think sometimes it takes the focus off of all the other lines. And I'm sitting here in an armchair in Ohio, and you guys are on the ground there with feet, and you know what this area looks like, so you know it could be a place where somebody can pull over on the side of the road. I do not. Okay, so let's take a look at Charles Lindbergh real quick so you can understand the process of what we do. Okay, so little Charlie Lindbergh taken right out of his own bed, okay, and this is the chart from when he was put to bed, and then this is the chart from where he was taken and the point of his recovery. But let's look at this at let's look at it here. Where are you, Charlie? Okay, so we're going to go here. We're going to go down to New Jersey. Okay, I'm going to turn that off. Okay, so little Charles Lindbergh was taken from here. Body was found here. It was 4.7 miles. Mars was 4 degrees Pisces. Okay. The vector bearing was 190, which was a 10 degrees Libra. Okay. Which is heading down this way. The moon, Uranus, and Pluto were in a grand square to one another. So that was the aspect that actually gave us his point of recovery. Okay, so we had a Mars measurement actually gave us the near miles in distance, and the vector was right on the finishing points. See, the moon was measured here, Pluto measured here, Uranus measured here, but all these different numbers played in. Okay, and we've just finished their points on the compass, and he was found on the finishing point. Okay, very important. So the finishing point lines, which are dotted, are just as important as the solid lines. Okay, so that's Charles Lindbergh. We'll shut him off, and let's go look at little Bobby Jo Matthews. She was out of Pennsylvania. She was also abducted right out of her bed, 3 a.m. in the morning. And so this is the chart for 3:30 a.m. And this is actually the map illustration is not complete here, but I'm going to complete it. I'm going to show it to you here. Okay, so Bobby Jo, where is the little Bobby Jo? Okay, so we're going to go right down here to Pennsylvania. Okay, and she was abducted from here. You're not going to turn on for me? Okay. She was abducted from here, found here. Come on, why isn't this turning on? Oh, please. Okay, there we go. Okay, so she's found here, and it was a 4 mile. Jupiter was 5 degrees, gave us a little near distance, okay? And the vector bearing was 6 degrees Virgo. Why is that not pulling like that? Something's, let me just refresh this map for a second. Well, okay, there, that's better. See, sometimes it just gets this, I'm sorry, this scroll map is wigging out on me. Okay, so little Bobby Jo, oh, that's Charles Lindbergh, I'm sorry. Little Bobby Jo, she had, she had Venus at 2 degrees Virgo, which is conjunct this point by 4 degrees, and it was square here. So she was found on the Venus-Jupiter square. Okay, so if I want, again, I'm going to finish those points, even though she was found on the conjunction. So if I'm here, right, Jupiter square here, the other end is here, and the other end is here. So we would get that kind of a square thing going on, okay? From that aspect. But look at all these other planets. They're making aspects to one another too, which makes this work a little bit frustrating because we know they're going to be on one of these patterns, but which one? That is up to the search groups and knowing what you know about the area you are in and you are doing your searches. Okay, so Bobby Jo was found on the Venus, the Jupiter square, and that would look like that. We cover the numbers for that. Now, what happened here was in Cambria County, they said that she was found northeast on this road, so I just like highlighted out the county to show that this is the northeast part, and you know, we're on this road here where she was recovered. So we do the best we can with the information provided on where they're located. Okay, so that's Bobby Jo. Now let's go take a peek at Danielle Van Dam. Danielle As we know, David Westerfield's neighbor, like 2 doors down, took her out of her house at 2:30 in the afternoon. She was found like 16.4 miles. Venus and Pluto are both measuring 17 degrees. Okay, so they gave us near distance there, and she was found on her stellium. So that is here for Danielle. Where are you, baby? Okay, so here's where Danielle. Let's go to California. Okay, so Danielle, I'm gonna have to probably scoot this down a little bit because I don't know how far off in distance we're going here. We're going 17 miles. So she was taken here out of her home. Her remains were recovered here, and we can't see it. There we go. It was 17 miles. And Venus and Pluto, as I said, were 17 degrees. That's the compass. The vector bearing was 133. And she had a stellium, which is right here. Okay, there was a whole stellium going on at the time of her disappearance, and that's what she was found on, right in there. She was found again on one of the finishing points. So again, I showed you one case where they were found on the conjunction, and I showed you 2 cases where they were found on finishing points, which are the dotted lines. Okay, so this is over and over again. I just given you 3 examples. I have 190 of them that I could actually show you, but we don't have time for that. Okay, so when you go to her map, again, I told you that you can actually look at it here. Okay, it took us about 2 to 3 hours to erect this map, do all the vectors. Every one of these folders can be the arrows. You open them up to pull them down, the hierarchy. Okay, so this is in the disappearance chart. We're giving you all the possible distances and all the directions. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, let me turn this one off, okay? I just read this morning that there was a sighting in Morehead City, okay? So this is the Mercury-Saturn conjunction at the time of her disappearance. The other end of it is Morehead City. And it certainly does have distance there with the planets because I went out 54 miles. So that's where we're at with that. That would be 27. But anyway, that sighting, yeah, it could be a possibility. They're going to have to rule it out. But it's funny that it's actually even coming up on here. All right, so that is that pattern. I turned it off. You need to turn them off and turn them on and look at them one by one. I'm liking the 4 mile distance here. Okay, I'm going to pull this into 4 miles because I like 4 miles and I like 10 for Venus and I like 11 and I like the 17. I don't think that she's any further than this. If they disposed of her quickly because something went sour the night before, then those would be the radiuses I would stay mindful to. So I'm just going to leave those on. I'm going to close this down just so it gives me room here. If you are on a cell phone, get off of it and get on a desktop because our maps need to be manipulated and it's very hard to navigate them. And with these folders on a cell phone, you will have to turn the cell phone on its side to access these folders to open them up, but it still makes it a little difficult. Tablet, desktop is best, okay? And just remember, you can actually use all this down here to turn it into terrain or road. If you have an idea or a road in your head, something that I say during the course of this sounds like something, then you can actually punch in a road here and get there. It'll highlight it for you, okay? All right, so I'm personally, April loves the sun-moon square here, okay? And I like it too, okay? So this is the sun-moon square that was happening at the time, very potent, okay? This is the 4 mile distance. If you open this up and hover over this, it'll highlight for you. Why did that get down? I don't want to be in the map on her page. I want to be on the map here because I'm going to bring this down to the chart in case I want to look at that again. All right, so my suggestion is to... I'm going to leave these on for myself, okay? Even the 11 mile, I'm going to close that, and they're on. And now I just want my directions open. I personally like I like all of them, actually. I don't know which one. So let me just scoot down here. Now, remember, this is a little tricky. We're already going at 19 minutes. I really didn't want to go this long. Where is that? So that's a 1/4 of a mile right there. So here's this road. I mean, look at all this woods here. I can't imagine what you guys are going through. Actually, looking through all this is very difficult with all this wood. I heard they're bringing dogs in, so hopefully we'll keep our fingers crossed. But if we're going to look on this aspect, then you might want to head in here, okay? Right around here off this little road that I don't even know the name of. It doesn't even have a name in either one of these thing right off this high hill. I love this 17, and I'll tell you why. Pluto is 17 degrees, okay? And now we're looking for a little 3-year-old that there seems to be some her home life. That even if somebody did, a sex offender went into that house and took her out of it, what did he take her out of it for? It was a quick, abuse thing and a dump. So he's not going too far either. So anyway, I really like that I'm seeing a root 17 and I'm seeing that Pluto is 17 degrees here. Okay, I really, really would pay attention to that. Not only that, but Pluto is square here to Mars. Okay, so we can actually even look at that aspect. But right now, the one that I have on is the Sun, Moon, Neptune square, because most of the cases that we're seeing in our study, the Sun and Moon are always playing into that that another planet could be conjunct where they're found, but the Sun and Moon will always play in as well. So you always want to look at these first. So this is a 1/4 of a mile. What happens when we go down 4 miles? Okay, so now we're at the 4 mile. We're at the 1 mile mark here. And what if we go down to this 4? So I need to get down a little further. Okay, and let's come up here. All right, now we're down here. Okay, so now we're here on 17. Any one of these roads where he would have gotten off this loop, like what's this? That's our 4 mile mark, this Terra Loop Road. Okay, can he have, look at all the, look at this. I can't, I'm just thinking that if you go look, most people follow the path of least resistance. That means that he probably didn't go through too much trouble. If he put her in a truck and just drove somewhere to dispose of her, he did it very quickly. So he probably pulled over on the side of the road, maybe walked 100 feet in. So you want to look maybe 100 feet, in off these roads, streets that are right here. One of the ones that I like, where is that jump road? Hold on. So this down here would be a good place to actually look if you were going to expand your distances. I'm not saying she can't be 2 miles. I'm not saying she can't be 3 miles, because she surely can. All right, stop. I really don't like that it has to do that. So touchy. Come on. All right, so if we maintain this one, okay, and let me go to the hybrid here. Where's that jump road? It's not going to tell me. I said not to use the wheel, and I'm using the wheel. I think it's here. Is this that jump road? Yeah, stump jump road. Okay, so now I'm saying this because I got this coming down. Okay, if I turn on the Moon, Neptune, Jupiter trine, I'm over here on stump jump road. Okay, so if he could have came down 17 and moved over, right, maybe he didn't come down 17, maybe he came down this way and over this way. So we have that, and then we have the Mercury, Saturn. Could she be in this quadrant here, heading out? Absolutely. Okay, I think they said something about checking a pond or something that was off this Dawson Road here. But if we look at a satellite here, this seems to be going through some stuff. So, what's right there? That's that aspect, Mercury, Saturn. Now we're trining that aspect out. So now we're back down here by this again. Okay. Now when I'm looking at this chart for 11:30, now I can go through I can get about maybe 6 or 7 cases of lies of children who have gone missing, and the lies people told about, when the last time they put them to bed or last time they saw them or something, okay, and it turned out to be somebody in the home. There's always that chart when they decide to say, oh yeah, well, we put her to bed at 11:30. It always just seems to show that they're lying somehow, okay, that we have a planet already here in the 8th, okay, that's actually saying something, that there's something could have been already transpired, if she could even passed before that time. I don't like the fact that that we have Jupiter and Venus in this Scorpio right here in the 3rd house. I don't feel like there was some stranger that came in through the window and took her out. That's not what I'm getting here, but I could be wrong. Anyway, I think that there's so many good aspects in here. It's hard to rule out any of them. It really is. It's just very hard to rule out any of them. So that's why we have to try to create all of them for you. So this Bear Alley right here. Now, even though we don't have distance to this road, but we're right, it's putting us right here. If you go look at some of the case studies that we've done, we're actually ready for publishing, but there's 15 cases on the case study page that'll actually show you, you know, the planets help get us out there to the distance where they are. Okay, sometimes they're exact, sometimes they're, you know, they're off just a little bit. My gut's telling me she's down this way, down here in the southern hemisphere. That's what my gut's telling me. I don't know if he would have went north. I just don't feel that. Because when I look at the chart, oh, that's what I was going to do. At 11:30, look at all this. All these planets are pulling down here. They're all pulling down here. And it's not uncommon that if we take that chart and we actually put it over the map, that we get that. What we've done is we flipped the planets 90 degrees and we put them at ground level, because the planets are usually based on 0 degrees being at the east in celestial longitude. But we flipped them 90 degrees and we put them up to true north up here, and then we work everything around, and we keep with the same numbers that are in the chart. Okay, so this is the Mars Uranus Pluto, which is the one I like. April likes this one. I like this one. Okay, again, I think I was going to do some hot spots, but I just really hate to take the focus off. I'd rather you folks get in there, start turning on these lines and saying, hey, I know that area. Like, you know, there's a trail there, or, you know, it's very easy to go in there and park your car. This is the Venus, okay? This is Venus in Scorpio was conjunct her own Saturn. This Bear Alley Road, okay? This, what's all down in here. How far is this coming out? Now, it's a little bit past this stump road, but what's all in here? You know, like, what's the path of least resistance? What would have been an easy run? You know, I would like to think that you got a little kid in your car, you're nervous, right? Not hanging around. All right, so that's the Venus sextile. I don't know why this is getting all... I always go back to the road. This helps my... And then we trined out Pluto because, well, we just have to trine out Pluto. Sometimes, you know, if I squared him, I don't want to not trine him because he has different points on the compass at 120 degrees and he has another points at 90 degrees. Okay. All right. So this is her. What if I leave the one that I like on here? And I'm going to close this down. Okay. And then I'm going to go over to her birthday for 11/8. Okay. And April look. So the same one that I have turned on, we still have something happening in her birth chart, which are the pink lines coming down here. So if we turn them on one by one, again, let me turn this one off, turn them on one by one and see which ones are lining up with the another one, because her birth chart's going to tell us where she is too. Okay, our maps are only to get you into an area of interest. We want to pinpoint it as well as we can, and we're working very hard looking at cases over and over again. Why did this planet give it this time? Why did that planet give it that time? We're weighing it. We're learning. We're never going to be done learning. But anyway, that's where you have it. I would pay attention to roads with the washes, like, you know, like when you're coming down the road, you know, they're right to the left and the right of them. There's like little, you know, drainage ditches. Look in those. Welcomes, you know, that's this 17. This 17 is bugging me. This Jump Street Road, this Bear Avenue Road. If I was there, that's where I would be heading. I would like maybe send a few people into that Bear Avenue. You know, that's right in there, that Jump Road, and Bear. I would definitely do this 17 and the roads that come off 17. Like I said, people follow the path of least resistance. And you know, he might have driven 4 miles, 3, 4 miles, 5, 10 miles just to take the light off of them. Typically a lot of people, they, you know, if he just disposed of her, they really want them to be found. They don't want this to be hanging on them. So if they're found, it's just a matter of making a connection. So hopefully you'll get something out of this map if you apply it to what you know of what's going on in your area and what those areas look like. But, you know, from the satellite view here, it just looks, you know, like, wow, like it's really going to help to have these dogs come in. I just hope that maybe when somebody there in Jacksonville can maybe shove this map into law enforcement's face, maybe they can direct a search because of what they know, what the dogs are already picking up. I don't know. We try our best. Okay, we have all these children in this case study that's supporting that we can actually use the planets in their position at the time of a disappearance to focus our searches. And we're keeping our fingers crossed. Anybody got any questions? Write to us. We are happy to answer them. And that's it. Come on, Mariah. Help us bring you back. God bless.